Well, hello again, sports fans. This is another review of my RSSI ProTrack antenna. I've been focusing mainly on the long-range performance of it, but that's only because I've been pretty happy with the short and medium-range performance. I thought I'd put a video together though to show how it tracks around the field. So I've stuck a Mobius on the top of it and incorporated the footage into the video. So I'm using the old Texumo. That's the only FPV plane I've got flying at the moment. And it's a glorious day. I've already been out for a long range flight and been pretty happy with that, so I'm feeling fairly good. So as you can see, the antenna is tracking me walking the Texumo out to the strip. So I stop at this point to put the Texumo in its launch position, and you'll notice from the insert there that I'm still walking out to the strip, but the antenna's not following me, so it's lost the tracking. Presumably the battery's got in the way of the antenna. And it's not unusual for this to happen when you're this close to the transmitter. The video signal's still strong, and it usually sorts itself out quickly in the air. So we're away. It's a glorious day, and the plan is just to do circuits of the field at varying distances and heights, just to give you some idea of how the antenna tracks. So I get some altitude fairly quickly and put it into return to home mode straight away, and what that does, it will circle at that same altitude in round about 100-metre radius circle. This is the display I'm looking at on the monitor. So you can see the antenna still sitting there facing towards the containers that hasn't locked on yet. So I take the Texumo out of return to home mode and fly it past the end of the antennas and then turn north, and you can see the antenna quickly locks on and starts tracking the Texumo thereafter. There's a little bit of glitching that you get when the plane flies directly over the antenna, but apart from that, it's really solid. So the video is good, and the antenna seems to be tracking well at this stage. So I'm just leaving it in return to home for a few circuits, just to give you some idea of how the antenna's going. I think some of that glitching is due to the fact that it's in quite a steep bank. So I take it out of return to home and start to head out a bit further. I intend keeping roughly the same altitude, but I'll extend the circuits out to around 500 metres, which will reduce a lot of that bank that I was getting in return to home mode. So the antenna's tracking well, the video is nice and clear, everything's good. So the Texuma is not a really quick plane, which makes the tracking look fairly slow, but the antenna's pointed in the correct direction all the time, and the video is really good, so pretty happy with how it's going. So I fly the Texuma in behind the antenna just to show you the 360 degree tracking in operation. And the video remains clear throughout that. I decided to bring it down a bit and do some lower level circles. So the changes in altitude and attitude of the Texuma don't seem to make any difference. The video remains good and solid, and the antennas continue to track. Everything's still going fine, the antennas continue to track, the video is good and solid, no real glitches happening. No sign of that tree interfering with the signal. So I bring it down for a low pass and the camera actually picks it up, so you can see the tracking's pretty smooth on the flyby. So I'm actually flying along a little ridge in the paddock here, which actually shields the base station from this point, so there's no loss of signal while I'm behind it at all. The video doesn't show any breakup whatsoever. So I'm setting up for another low pass, and you can see that the antenna has no trouble keeping up with the Texuma. So I head out a bit further just to see if that has any effect. So I'm just turning back towards the strip, and the video is good and the tracking is good. There's been no problems at all so far. Once again I decided to come in from behind the antenna just to show you the 360 degree tracking that it can do. So once again the tracking is good, the signal's good, there's a slight loss as I fly over the antenna, but that's all. So the wind's coming out of the south at probably 5 or 6k, so I've got to set up for a landing from the north, which is a bit more challenging. You've got to come down the face of a fairly steep hill, and on this instance I actually stuff it up. I mistake the grass verge for the landing strip and don't realise it till I'm almost down. I almost make it back, but not quite. So there was no harm at all done to the Texumo, and I decide this is a good point to put an end to what's been a very good morning. So I'm pretty happy with how the ProTrack works for this sort of flying. It's really easy to use, very quick to set up. It gives high quality video all around the field with very little glitching. It takes a bit more work to get out past 4 or 5 kilometres in the sort of terrain I'm flying over, but I had the Texumo out to 8k this morning and got it back in one piece, so you can't really complain too much.